Congratulations on being named permanent head coach of Watford at 34, no less. Has it been able to sink in yet?
Yeah, so I think when you're so immersed in a job, you don't sort of go through this thought process. Now, at the end of the season, there's a little bit of time to reflect on and be proud of the achievement. But I've never been someone who sort of sits back and takes a look at what I've achieved. I'm always thinking about what comes next, improving. I feel massively proud to not only be in a position to coach and manage in such a young age, but do it for a club that I have a lot of feeling towards and genuine feeling towards.
Similar to when you were an aspiring pro at Manchester United, I guess you find yourself in an apprenticeship phase again, forging a new career within management. Since retiring a year ago, you've been under-18s coach, you've been made temporary head coach, you've been permanent head coach, you've done your UEFA A license. It's been a busy year, plenty of learning too. I imagine. How have you found all that?
Yeah, I love learning. I'm always open to learn. I've been on plenty of study visits to Burnley, to Red Bull Racing, had a day here with Gareth Southgate, and every learning opportunity I've taken, because, yeah, like you said before, there's a lot of similarities between being that scholar 16 to 18 and sort of having a little bit of self-doubt, where in the football pyramid you're going to end up. And those feelings sort of pop up again when you're a young coach. I have a lot of self-belief, but there's always that doubt whether what you're trying to coach is going to deliver and then transfer onto the pitch. So, yeah, a few of those self-doubt things have calmed. Now I feel very at home in a first-team setup, and a lot of similarities between the starting of the bottom of the pyramid again and working your way up.
You mentioned there you spent a day with Gareth Southgate. You've been at Red Bull Racing, which is interesting because outside of football context, you've obviously played under some great managers. Across those experiences, what are some of the main insights you've derived from that?
Yeah, so I think, one, yes, your playing experience can be lent on quite a lot, and not always good experiences either. I think bad ones too. I had a complete variety of experiences as a player, whether that be going for titles, relegation fights, relegations, League One, Championship, Premier League, Champions League, a big variety of things I can lean on. But certainly the years where I've had disappointments is where I've learned a lot, and how would I deal with a player who's lacking confidence, and I can relate to all these things from my playing career. But yeah, moving into this year, it's been a constant learning curve, learning on the job more times than not. But going to Red Bull and places like this, you learn how clear their communication lines are, so that the information going to the driver's ear is so clear and precise, and things like that you can learn from, because the players it needs to be absolute clarity that what the players get delivered, and there's a process that we go through to make sure that happens.
You mentioned there in terms of the experiences you had. To what degree do you balance, I've played at that very highest level, leveraging those experiences that come with it, while also acknowledging the fact that it's a new sort of career you're taking on as well?
Yeah, I'd probably say 10% of what I've done in a playing career, and then 90% is completely new start, and you have to prove yourself again. You have to work harder than anyone else. You have to. There has to be substance to what you're delivering. The place where it does matter is when you step into the room. Yeah. You've got immediate respect because you played for your country. You played for one of the biggest clubs in the world, but that then only lasts so long. You know, you've really got to back it up with good delivery, of good information, be able to hold a room, and yes, I'd say it's about a 10%, 90% ratio.
When I spoke to people that worked with you on the coaching course, they've said that you've been able to derive a lot of small details from the bigger picture. That's one of your stronger qualities. And when we tend to speak about the better managers, we tend to talk about the feel, the smell, the touch. To what degree is that something you just have, and to what degree can it be cultivated, I think?
Yeah, good question. I think a lot of it is in my character. I like to be very thorough with analysis, with preparation, with organisation, and so that means you do go into the fine details. also have to be conscious that when you go in really fine details, you don't bombard the players with so much information that's too much to process. So you have to prioritise what's really important, go into massive details about that, and that takes a lot of preparation from the staff to filter it down into this really quality information that you're giving to the players. And yeah, I've always been very hard-working and thorough in my preparation, and I think that's two characteristics that have really helped me transition into this role.
You previously said that being a coach is like starting a business. Would you care to elaborate on that?
No, that's more in terms of I've seen friends launch startup companies and doing 14, 16-hour days and sort of trying to collect a staff. And yeah, there's some similarities in things like that. So right now I'm in that startup phase of probably working hours that are not sustainable for a long career. Trying to recruit a staff, assemble a team. So the similarities of starting a company, but thoroughly enjoying the process, and but need to sort of take a look at the working hours and prioritise my day and delegate a bit better, just so that this career can be 20, 25 years.
You mentioned that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that you lacked ambition as a player. You have more ambition as a coach. How is that drive for you as a coach different from that of a player?
I think it comes from more confidence. I think my qualities and characteristics as a person suit this role much better than the qualities and characteristics I had as a player. I was a good teammate, I was a good team player, but at the end of the day I was 5'8", I had no pace. I was quite an intelligent player, but for a Premier League midfielder, the attributes I had were not ideal. Now I feel like I've got a good emotional intelligence, I've got good experiences, I'd like to think I've got a good eye for the game, good eye for a player. So yeah, by no means do I feel like I'm an expert or I know it all, but I feel like the cards that I've been dealt with for this role are a good set, and now I have to work really hard with them.
So in my mind, I'm thinking I'll go into trial with Watford. I need to convince you to sign me. I'm curious, what would a Tom Cleverley type of player look like? What would you expect from me?
I look at body language as a big thing for me, and yeah, you sort of read up about other top coaches, and that's a common theme, that the body language, I think the team is a product of the environment that you set. So yeah, a big thing I say to my players is solutions, not excuses. And so any mistakes, I want to look at the reactions of the players, not only the guy who's made the mistake, but his teammates around him. So first of all, yeah, positive body language, good reactions to mistakes, aggressive pressure and technical stuff then, but first and foremost, yeah, body language is a big thing for me.
You're talking about setting precedent, about setting expectations. How do you kind of cultivate that over time? How do you cultivate buy-in? Because like you said there, in terms of, there will obviously be the tactical stuff, but also the management that comes with it, which it's obviously an opportunity, but also a challenge as well.
Yeah, so I see it as a head start that I know these guys. I'd like to think they respect me because I was a respectful teammate. So I've got a bit of a head start in that aspect. Then to gain that trust, you need to build a relationship. All honesty is always the key. So even if you're delivering bad news, deliver it with honesty. Be honest with why the news is bad and not good. And then yeah, you need to deliver a good product. Going back to the business analogy, you need to deliver a good product, and then the players trust you even more. And then together you start to believe that something can be achieved. Where we need to continue to work at that as staff, to get the players' belief that we can really achieve something. And then once you've got everyone's buy-in, you can achieve special things.
You're part of a new generation of managers is coming up, but looking back, what are some of the attributes that you've looked to emulate, cultivate, so to speak, from the managers that you've played under?
Yeah, so coincidentally, I've just delivered a presentation here to some A-licence students, and that was part of it, of the personnel that have influenced me to be a coach, or going forward as a coach, not as a player. So going all the way back to Eric Harrison at United, the basics of football, Warren Joyce, work ethic, purely work ethic, Paul McGuinness, what it takes to be operate in an elite environment, Sir Alex, best man manager of all time, Marco Silva, tactically top, and then Nigel Pearson, the best I've seen hold a room of people, whether that be 10 people, whether that be 5,000 people. And then most recently Chris Wilder, who was my last manager as a player. I'd never played for him because of my injury, but he was kind enough to say come in and be exposed to the staff meetings, the staff planning, the game plans, and he really exposed me to life as a top coach. So yeah, I think there was 6 or 7 names in my presentation that all have given me inspiration or knowledge to help me in a coaching career.
We're here at St George's Park today. You've just completed UEFA A license. What are some of the main insights and the value that you've gained from doing your coaching badges?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost for anyone doing it's experience. So it's time on the grass, it's experience coaching. You learn the basics. You build a network with other people on your course. You come across some great people. For doing my B licence, I had worked with Nevin Soroya, who's been a massive part of this journey that I've been on. I started my B licence just before lockdown, then sort of put it to bed for a while, concentrating on playing, and it was Nev who picked up the phone and said, listen, I'm sort of your regional course leader now, and since that day we speak every week. He's constantly putting me in contact with people who might help me on my journey. So he's been fantastic, a real standout figure on this journey. But the one thing, if I was to take any, is just raw time on the grass coaching. The difference between me delivering session 1 and session 10 was massive, and then session 10 and session 100 is huge. And as I'm sure session 100, session 1000 will be, but it's a long road, but the experience can improve you very quickly.
If we can harp it down to a few principles or non-negotiables or keywords for that matter, how would you describe yourself as a manager?
I try not to bombard it. I think we've got 4 for in possession, 4 for out of possession, and then 4 for the environment. Without knowing them all off by heart, in possession we want to line break passes, we want to penetrate lines. Out of possession, the distance of the team is key. High press. For the environment, reactions to mistakes, positive body language, be a respectful teammate. These are all things that come to me when I say my non-negotiables, and how you deliver that to the players is the key. And then when you hear the players delivering it to each other, that's when you know you're onto a good thing.
You found yourself in a moment of transition, so to speak, when you had to confront the fact that there is a career that follows after playing. What would your advice be for members, players, in terms of taking on that next career?
Preparation. Prepare for the day. Mine. I was starting to prepare, but then the injury came a lot sooner than I thought it would. So always prepare, whether that be an education program, whether that be your coaching badges, whether that be media training. I would certainly prepare when you start to get into your 30s. Start to prepare for the day that might have to kick into action, and reach out to try and be proactive, reach out to your Nevin and Soroya. I was lucky that he reached out to me, but reach out to that person who can help you with that. It might be a PFA rep, that might be a teammate, it might be your PFA delegate at your club, but do as much preparation for when that day comes, because it's paid off for me. You don't want to reach the day when I've got told that I'm not able to play anymore, and have no sense of direction, sense of purpose when that day comes. And That was always my fear. I was really, really lucky that the under-18s job at Watford was available when I retired, because straight away I had a sense of purpose and a real direction in my life after football.
And lastly, you're taking on a pre-season now as head coach for Watford. What kind of hopes and expectations do you have going into next season, both as a team, but for you personally as well, I guess?
Yeah, super excited about pre-season. It's always hard coming into the head coach's role when midway through a season. You sort of it's all about short-term results. It's not too much about implementing your philosophy because you have minimal time to prepare. So you try to set a good environment and some good principles to work under. Now we can really have repetition on how we're going to play, and we need to improve in possession and controlling games that way. Listen, I've got some clear targets that are for internal purposes, but yeah, I'm an ambitious guy as a coach, like we said before, and it doesn't sit right with me that I returned to Watford as a player in the Premier League and left them as a Championship club. So having said this, my goals are pretty clear. We always have this discussion amongst our staff that central midfielders, it seems to be the most common position by far that coaches come out of. Centre backs as well, but central midfielders, you see a lot more coaches worldwide who played that position, just because I think they have a perspective. They're connected to everyone in the team, and they can see their perspective of it, and it's interesting. Really, you don't see many strikers. You see a lot of don't see many goalkeepers, but see a lot of centre backs and central midfielders. Yeah.
But like you say, it's just in terms of seeing the entire game. Huh?
Yeah, and you're in connect with every position, so you try and see it through their eyes. Yeah.